Good afternoon from Kyiv. This is Joe Lindsley. I know it's been a bit of a hiatus here from my daily reports on YouTube, but first I'll note I am continuing to report from Ukraine every single day. If you visit howaboutfreedom.com, you can find ways to follow and support the work of my team every single day, especially on Instagram and on X, at JP Lindsley.
Before we continue, we invite you to follow our channel, the only American show reporting live from Ukraine every day.
I've also started a weekly Ukraine report, perhaps surprisingly, on X, on the new show called 69X Minutes, produced by Mario Nafal, hosted by Aaron Molin, and powered by Elon Musk. The motto is unfiltered truth, and as with my 3 years of reporting on Chicago's WGN radio, no one can censor me. So I welcome you to follow our reports on X on this new show, powered by Elon Musk. I am reporting from Ukraine every week there. And now I want to get back into the habit of making these daily reports here on YouTube. And I found out the past months just how much I miss these daily essays about life and war. In some ways, I've even realized that my command of the situation here in Ukraine, even though I'm here every day, has been slipping. And that just underscores the importance of daily reporting. And as I look at what's happening in Washington, I know lots of people there, and, there's a lack of good information, a lack of clear information. People get overwhelmed. And I've really seen this lately by going on lots of podcasts with anti-Ukrainian voices. And I see that how rarely are Americans presented with the actual situation on the ground here. So here's a quick look at some of my recent conversations, in particular on the Break the Rules podcast.
You're the first person who's pro-Ukraine war that is actually calling out what needs to be called out in very brutal detail. And I've never heard that before.
Now let's get to today's report. In the past weeks, Russia has increased drone attacks upon Ukrainian cities. The Moscow strategy seems to involve rotating to a different city pretty much every night and then besieging that place with drones of all different sorts. And last night was particularly brutal in the city of Kharkiv, where I've spent so much time, just about 30 miles from Russia. A friend there wrote to me saying the following: at least 16 drone strikes in the past half hour. Honestly, since 2022, it's never been so dreadful here in Kharkiv. And that's saying a lot because Kharkiv has seen a lot of hell. Last week, the Russians also pummeled the city of Dnipro, including hitting a famous restaurant on the river, just hitting civilian targets every night with these drones throughout Ukraine. And in Kyiv, a week ago, it was similar. I've been through many missile and drone attacks, and one of these attacks last week in Kyiv was one of the worst I've been through. Through that night, for example, everyone here in Kyiv, we could hear the Russian-Iranian drones approaching closer and closer, that terrifying lawnmower sound, and sometimes with no return fire, which is very chilling. And we see that the Russians have been working to overwhelm Ukraine's air defense systems by concentrating on one city at a time. And this is not making it into the news. And let's also look at this view of Russians hitting Kharkiv last week while people were trying to play soccer on a pleasant spring evening. It's notable that in the talk of a ceasefire, no one is mentioning the idea of a ceasefire upon cities like Kharkiv, Odessa, and Kyiv. What's also strange about this ceasefire talk is that Moscow says it wants a ceasefire in the Black Sea, but there is no fire to cease there. Because Ukrainians have largely pacified the Black Sea with their innovative homemade sea drones, the sea is calm. The Russian Black Sea Navy, a third of it has been destroyed. The other two-thirds have been forced to flee to mainland Russia. And a ceasefire in the Black Sea would only allow Russia to creep back, to return its Black Sea fleet to Crimea, to Sevastopol, so to erase the work of these past 2 years. A ceasefire in the Black Sea doesn't make sense for anyone, and it seems maybe a good deal might be if there were a ceasefire in the Black Sea, only in return for a Russian ceasefire upon, for example, the city of Kharkiv. That would seem to make sense. Now, today is April 2nd, and 20 years ago today, Pope John Paul II died. It's a good occasion to recall his visit to Ukraine when he visited Kyiv and Lviv in June 2001. While he was in Lviv, Pope John Paul II said these words: "Thank you, Ukraine, who defended Europe in your untiring and heroic struggle against invaders." This is in 2001, John Paul II. "May the Lord give you peace, people of Ukraine. With tenacious and harmonious dedication, have you recovered your freedom. And you have begun the work of rediscovering your truest roots after the long winter of persecution in the past century." Of course, John Paul II was someone who knew lots about persecution, being Polish. "Even if you still feel the painful scars," the Pope said in Lviv, "of the tremendous wounds inflicted over endless years of oppression, dictatorship, and totalitarianism, during which the rights of the people were denied and trampled upon, look with confidence to the future. This is the time for hope and for daring. Christians know that they are an integral part of the Ukrainian nation by virtue of a 1,000-year history, which began with the baptism of Vladimir the Great and the Kievan Rus in the year 988 AD in the waters of the Dnieper River. But they, the Christians, especially today, are part of Ukraine because of the baptism of blood which they received in the course of the tremendous persecutions of the 20th century." Pope John Paul II continued, "People of Ukraine, it is into the fertile soil of your own traditions that the roots of your future stretch." And the Pope emphasized in that speech the importance of, in the process of rediscovering freedom, how you also have to find your roots, your ancient roots that bind you together as a people, and they give you a purpose in this life. So some small reflection here on the 20th anniversary of the death of Pope John Paul II. And this has been Joe Lindsley, once again now reporting to you daily on YouTube from Ukraine, continuing my daily reports also on Instagram and on X, as I have somehow every single day, every single weekday since February 24th, 2022. You can follow the work of my Ukrainian Freedom News team and I at howaboutfreedom.com. Please follow me on X and on Instagram at JP Lindsley. And please, I encourage you to catch my weekly report on the news program, 69X Minutes, powered by Elon Musk, available every Sunday starting at 4:20 p.m. New York time on X.com. Mario Naufal is the creator of the program, and I welcome you to follow us, share it, offer your comments and criticism as we continue to work to share the reality from Ukraine with the world every single day. Thank you from Kyiv.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Что он сказал?
Well, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Ебать.